till tomorrow. Live and learn. You will never find your way.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Sorry, y'all. Sorry about that.
Welcome to the Sonic Sode.
This gotta go fast.
This episode will be 15 minutes. We gotta go fast.
That's right. We gotta get going. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Ringside. I'm John.
I'm Kendra.
And yeah, it's the freaking Sonic Sode, the Shadow Sode, whatever you want to call it. Gotta go fast.
I didn't realize that was Shadow this whole time. It says Shadow on it. And I looked at it and I said, what a cool picture of Sonic.
We've spent the whole day together.
The whole day. And I've seen that shirt before.
Huh.
I just didn't listen. They look alike. And that's like canonical.
That's true. They do look alike. And I don't know.
Is Shadow Sonic's dad? We need to discuss this. How old are these people? These hedgehogs?
So here's the thing. Much like Captain America,
Shadow was
frozen.
Ice for 50 years.
Yeah. So like, and when he was alive and kicking, they referred to him as a kid, which I guess technically he is. Right. We're playing real fast and loose with the term kid in this movie. Hang on, before we even get to that, hello everyone, welcome. Happy New Year.
2025.
Down since day one-ish at the time of this recording.
Yes, it's the first of the year.
The first of many. Okay, expect 4 episodes a month. No, I'm joking. You're lucky if you get 2. Okay.
You're lucky if you get 1.
You're lucky if you get 2. Let's say that. Okay. Let's speak that into the universe.
Okay. Is this a resolution?
No, we've been doing it.
Guys, I handled none of the scheduling. He tells me when to sit down and start talking. And
no, I ask you when you feel like it.
If it's okay if we sit down and start talking.
Exactly. Don't make it seem like I'm telling anyone what to do. Anyway,
he's a mom.
You know what is a resolution is it's not really a resolution. Just I don't know. I hate to say resolution because
it sets you up for failure.
Just
say goal.
Right. A goal of mine, a personal goal of mine, is actually, we're off to a good start, watch more movies. I feel like as someone who is as into movies and film as I am, I feel like I don't take the time to just sit down and watch movies I've been wanting to watch.
Here's what I think it is. Partially, it's like a cost thing because a lot of the movies that you want to watch are in the theaters for a very long time before you're able to watch them at home, and it's really expensive to go to the theaters. But also, like, I feel like 2024 for us was a big TV year. We watched a lot of TV.
Oh, yeah.
Because TV's like maximum an hour. So it's nice. It's easier to work that into a busy schedule when you're, let's say, a teacher and you work a second job and you do this for fun. I think that's because I've had the same thought too. Like, man, I'm letting so many movies pass me by specifically. Yeah. But it's just like, who has the time? So it's just a matter of
the money.
Or the money, yeah. A lot of stuff that we've been like renting movies on Amazon using the Amazon Prime rewards that we get for like not having something shipped the next day.
Right.
So yeah, that would add up if we didn't have so much of that. But yeah, no, I think it's just more of a matter of carving out time for.
Yeah, even just watching stuff at home, though, it's kind of like what you said. We're both very, very busy. We both have full-time jobs. I do work the second job, and we do this, and there's just a lot going on all the time. But even just finding time to, like, the same way I would play, like, a video game for, like, an hour or two, just finding those moments where I can sit down and watch a movie. So anyway, it's a goal of mine. I would like to watch more, just to, I don't know, not feel as left out, you know? Is that weird? Is that weird to say?
No, I totally get it. And I feel like we're just kind of the past couple years getting back into the swing of like these regular releases with movies because a lot of stuff got delayed and we're just starting to get out of that. So I feel like there is a lot to catch up on that we can at least watch at home.
Yeah.
A freaking Wicked's out for digital like rent or purchase.
Something has changed within me.
Will I be buying it? I think I might wait till it's out on streaming because I think if I get it, I want a Blu-ray. Anyway, that's all besides.
Well, if we get it, I figure we'd wait for the physical release that comes with the digital copy.
Yeah.
That way.
But here's the thing: they said, hey, listen, it's out now, and I'm like, damn, I would love to watch it again right now, immediately.
Right.
But no, I think that's a good goal, and I think that's an attainable goal, and it's just carving out the time and being like just better time management, I think, overall for the whole year. It also doesn't help that wrestling, no offense, love wrestling.
Love it.
Takes up 4, soon to be
6
hours
a week. Yeah.
5 hours.
That's if Raw doesn't go back to 3 hours.
Oh my God.
Which it
please.
might.
Listen, I love the content. Don't get me wrong. I don't like that SmackDown's going to be 3 hours. I don't like the idea of Raw being 3 hours again.
Here's the thing. I don't mind. I'm a little on the opposite of you, only because I'm literally sitting opposite of you. No, because I think SmackDown will benefit. I think Raw could benefit, but for me, as going on 32 years old and work, I'm a fucking teacher. Okay, I get up early. I get up real early.
Yeah.
So I don't always like staying up on a Monday night till 11 and then getting ready for bed.
If I'm gonna have to stay up to watch wrestling, I'd rather it be a Friday than a Monday.
Right. So I think Friday's fine. So Mondays, I'm like, I'll deal with it. Don't get me wrong. Especially we're on the road to WrestleMania, so you know it's going to be real good for the next few months.
That's the other thing. Is like I know that it's gonna be good. I'm gonna enjoy what I'm watching. It's just like, man, I've been really enjoying 4 hours of wrestling instead of 5 hours.
Do you think maybe WWE, if you're listening, as I know you do, maybe we make it like a seasonal thing. Maybe during the road to WrestleMania, we get these extended hours. Kind of like how stores do during the holidays, they extend their hours. Maybe then.
And then after WrestleMania, go back.
Go back to 2-hour shows.
Yeah.
I think we could get down with that.
Yeah.
Anyway, but speaking of movies, real quick, we did watch. We're already trying to get a head start on.
We're doing well.
We're trying to get a head start on things. Last night, actually, we watched a movie that made some headlines over the year. We're just going to quickly talk about this because we have a lot of other stuff to talk about. My favorite name of any movie ever. We watched Nightbitch.
Yes. Nightbitch is on Disney Plus.
Yeah, because it's on Hulu.
Yeah.
And if you have Disney Plus, you can watch a bunch of the Hulu stuff.
It's been out for a while, but I think it just recently came to streaming, so
yeah,
we were able to watch it.
Yeah. Which I was proud of us then to be like, hey, do you want to watch this movie?
Yeah, because normally I have a bad habit because of my OCD. I get into these periods of where I don't want to watch new stuff. I just want to rewatch old stuff.
Comfort stuff,
yeah. One year, I don't know if I've mentioned this before. I probably did. My freshman year of college, tumultuous time. I was going through a lot, and I rewatched the live action, like 2004 Peter Pan movie every day for 2 weeks straight. That was before I was diagnosed, so kind of a clue there. But like I get into these periods where I'm like, I don't want to watch. You'll even suggest like, hey, do you want to watch this? And I'm like, no.
Right.
I want to watch a show I've already seen. I want to watch a 15-minute YouTube video.
Right.
But yeah, I was really proud of myself. I was like, you know what? Yes, I do want to watch that.
Yeah. And it was, I mean, first off, right out the gate, I really, really liked it. I thought it was really, really good. I say that all the time.
That should be on a shirt for you. I really, really liked it.
That's pretty good.
It was really, really good. That's on the back. But I agree. It was.
This is why I don't like sharing my thoughts. For what we're gonna change the what we do on this fucking show. Anyway, go ahead.
It was good. It was. I didn't really know a lot about it going into it. I knew it was about a lady who turned into a dog.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: at the end of the movie, like, did she even really turn into a dog?
Did she ever really turn into a dog?
I don't know.
I think the message of the movie is that everyone has got that dog in them.
But especially women and mothers.
Yeah.
The other topic, and again, we don't want to like go too deep into it. I'm sure there are people way more intelligent than us.
Way more articulate
with way more thoughtful things to say who have already discussed this movie at length because it's been out for a while. There were moments in time where I, as a woman, related heavily to what they were talking about. It's a movie about motherhood for mothers. I can only relate to that from a cat perspective, so like not very much, but it did solidify the fact that I don't ever want to have a kid.
Well, yeah.
Which isn't the point, because at the end she was like, I don't regret having a kid. It looked fucking miserable.
Right.
The whole time. Oh my God. It was like my worst nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think there's something, if you're a person who is willing to be vulnerable and just kind of open to learning in general, like I think this movie makes a really good commentary on like gender roles and on the expectation of mothers, right? There's a lot of frustrating things that happen in the movie that could be avoided if all this patriarchal shit wasn't set up for people to exist in, right? Yeah, and I think there's a lot of really interesting symbolism, just the act of becoming an animal, but specifically a dog is really, really interesting. And I mean, what I took away from it was, kind of like what you were saying, kind of like what I'm saying is that the expectation of gender roles, like how guys, if you take anything away, maybe it's how to be a more thoughtful partner to whoever you're with. And where I really related to it, though, one, as a teacher watching over people's kids all the time, yeah. But also, don't laugh. This is another thing I say all the time. As an artist, I understood. I mean, like, I have a job, which I love my job, don't get me wrong, but it is a job that requires a lot of time dedicated to that job. And it does, unfortunately, sometimes take away from the more artistic things I want to do, right? So I can't audition for things as much because I'm not always available for things as much. So, and that is, even now, that is a tough thing for me to grapple with, right? So even that, and that's another example of just like being open to art and the messages it's trying to send. So this movie has a lot. Yes, it is. And that's not to take away from that. This movie is a very much about motherhood and the expectations of mothers specifically. But I will say, just opening yourself up to interpretation and what you can take away. That's, something I took away was the importance of making time to not lose who you are in something else, right? So whether it's wanting to watch more movies, wanting to audition for things more, wanting to be able to craft your art while also being a parent, right? So anyway, I thought it was a really, really neat movie. It's really interesting, if nothing else. So
it's definitely worth a watch. It was only an hour and 40 minutes too,
which I loved.
Appreciated.
Oh
that.
My God.
And Amy Adams was incredible in it.
When is she not?
When is she not? But it was definitely like, it made me very introspective, I will say that. But I agree, there's something in it for everyone. And it's like, I feel like a lot of people, there was a period of time where I turned to John and I was like, the husband, I fucking hate this guy.
Right.
I hate him. But here's the thing. He was just like a normal guy.
He's just a dude.
When he verbalized his side of everything, I'm like, you know what? I can't even be that mad at him. His thought process was reasonable.
Right.
So it's like, it's just about like people. It's not about like women are better than men.
Right.
Men are keeping women down purposeful.
But it was also, he was like doing shit that he didn't realize he was doing, right?
Yeah.
He didn't realize that he was part of the problem. And I love, that's
so
slight spoiler at the end.
People don't realize they're part of the problem.
Right. At the end, I won't give context because I don't want to give too many spoilers, but there is a moment where he is like confessing, like, I didn't fucking get it. Like, I had no idea how you were feeling. And like, again, if you just stop and listen and like, anyway, so
it was good.
It was a good one. Y'all should definitely go check out Nightbitch and let us know what you think about it.
Would you have kids after watching that?
Excuse me?
I'm asking the audience. Would you guys have kids after watching that if you don't already?
You know what kind of kid I want? A fast talking hedgehog and echidna and fox.
If I had to pick a kid out of all of the ones we've watched over the last 2 days, I think I'd pick Tails.
Yeah. Tails is a good boy.
You know why? Because he looks like Bustelo Perez already.
So, we've been wanting to see Sonic 3. So this review is a little bit late, switching gears a little bit, because Sonic 3 has been out for a few weeks now. Mm-hmm. But here's the problem. We had only watched the first Sonic years ago.
Yeah, when it came out.
And we remember liking it.
Yeah.
But it had been so long, and we missed Sonic 2. So we're like, all right, let's have a little Sonic marathon. And on this fine New Year's Day, where we have the day off, let's go ahead and go check out Sonic 3. So that's exactly what we did. So just a quick recap. I continue to think that Sonic the Hedgehog, the first one, really, really fun movie.
Yeah.
And you know what the crazy part is about the second one? Still a really, really fun movie. Mm-hmm. When you think of these movies or the games and what they are, you can imagine why maybe it would be like repetitive, it was still very, very fun. These movies are so much fun. And you know what? Sonic 3, we literally just got out of the movie theater, so this is a really fresh out of the theater review. Still really fucking fun.
Yeah. I feel like Sonic could have been bad.
It almost was
Easily
with that design.
Could have been bad. And not just like from a visual standpoint, which definitely I think would have wrecked it. But I think, listen, I might be biased. I think a lot of Sonic's success is because of Jim Carrey's performance.
Sure.
And I might be biased because I love Jim Carrey. But like in this one specifically, I felt like we were dragging a little bit until Robotnik was back in the movie, and then it picked up a little bit, and that could have just been like story wise. But for me, I was like, it didn't feel like well paced until that moment. So I can only believe that him having clearly so much fun performing again in something for kids again is what really like pushes it over the top for me. Like you said, we had watched the first one years ago, so we've rewatched it this week, and then we watched the second one. We did not watch the Knuckles series.
That's next.
That'll be next up. We didn't have the time. But yeah, like you said, like they're all we were not a Sega family. We were a Nintendo family.
Right.
So I had very little Sonic knowledge. I know that one really popular song, and we did have Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing. And I did play the fuck out of that. But yeah, so I don't have any of the background knowledge that you have to like make me enjoy it more. Again, it's like one of those things where they have to really, like Wicked, they have to build it from the ground up.
Right.
And I think they're really successful in making movies and these characters, introducing them in a way that I can understand as someone who does not know these people, these hedgehogs and foxes and echidnas and such, and just like making it enjoyable. And we're doing a lot of like, there's a lot of powers, there's a lot of grandiose, especially in this one.
Right.
But I never felt like I was lost in it.
Yeah, I agree. I think these movies, do a really good job of not leaving newcomers out.
Yeah.
But also very much still having things that fans of the games will understand. We weren't a Sega family either. However, we were a GameCube family. Yes. And they re-released Sonic Adventure 2 as Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, because they added like a bunch of mini games. They remastered it and re-released it, and it was available on GameCube. So I played the fuck out of that. And this movie, Sonic 3 specifically, is heavily influenced by that particular game, because that was also the introduction of Shadow the Hedgehog.
Gotcha.
So for me, I might have gotten a little more enjoyment because of nostalgia being a huge factor. Although I do not disagree with you. I think Jim Carrey is one of the biggest driving forces behind these movies. He's clearly having fun. It's like a return of something you didn't know you needed. And it's funny because with this particular franchise, Sonic blew up in the 90s, right? And Jim Carrey was also very popular in the 90s.
Probably the most popular.
Yeah, that was the height of his, he was banger after banger after banger, right? So it's cool to see these two things kind of come back into the limelight together.
At the same time, yeah.
But specifically with this movie, man, he is a freaking tour de force in this movie. And it's cool because they even poke fun, and this is very, very light spoilers. They poke fun at, the same actor playing two characters, which is especially like as a kid, I would have eaten that. It was funny now. It's funny. Don't get me wrong. But as a kid, that would have oh, I get it. Right. But yeah, it is so fun to see him play these two characters, but also these two characters are working off of each other so much in the movie. Mm-hmm. It's really, really cool to see how he approaches it. And I said this when we were rewatching the first one, that I feel jealous of every actor in the movie that gets to work with Jim Carrey, because just watching him work is just so, like, I feel like I'm just learning every time I watch him in anything. But anyway, all that to say, I agree. I think the movie, story-wise, it's pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of twists and turns, excuse me.
Yeah.
Especially if you're familiar with the source material, it's pretty straightforward. It's a pretty, they did make some adjustments to the story for film. I mean, that just comes with the territory, right? But it's pretty straightforward. It's not a super long movie. It's under 2 hours, which again is nice, although it's tricky because the movie is heavily for younger audiences, right? As much as we enjoy them.
Right.
But it is also meant for a kid to be able to sit through. So I feel like you really, no pun intended, you got to go fast, right?
Yeah.
You gotta keep the movie moving. But for people like us, for an older audience who might Shadows more of that story, they do a really great job of giving Shadow's backstory, and making us really feel for him.
Yeah.
But in terms of like, it's almost a little jarring when it's like right out of the gate in the beginning of the movie, they're like, hey, some shit's going on. We need Team Sonic out there. And it's like, yeah. And the first set piece with Shadow fucking running through the city, again, that seeing all the cop cars form around him, the gun cars form around him, straight out of the video game. That was really cool.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I'll have to show you, and maybe on social media, you'll see some side-by-sides here. Like, that was moving pretty quickly, but almost like...
Too quick?
Almost. I think that's what maybe made it feel like...
weirdly paced?
Yeah, because it was like...
Maybe that was my issue.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're allowed to feel how you feel, obviously, but I agree. I think it was just a little weird at the beginning there because we really just kind of pressed on the gas as opposed...
on the gas.
Step on the brakes. There were no brakes. We were just kind of moving, which was cool. I appreciated that because we had just watched 2 movies, so I
do think that was really beneficial watching the first 2 in the same week as the third one. Yeah, it's like we're literally like picking up where we left off, and we didn't struggle at all not watching Knuckles.
No,
there might have been like Easter eggs or references that we didn't quite understand or fully appreciate because of it, but I was worried there was going to be like a whole subplot we were not in on, and that does not seem to be the case.
No, and there's a lot of fun gags for the kids, right? There's a lot of fun things that happen.
It was really cute hearing. Listen,
after just saying that, parenthood doesn't look fun after Nightbitch.
No, and it doesn't, because there were kids fucking talking the whole time. And here's the thing: 2, 3, 4, 5, even 6, 7. Sometimes they're just gonna talk. They don't know any better. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
That's
shut the hell up. And it's not their fault, because who is supposed to be teaching these kids how to act? Their parents. But the kids who were not talking the whole time, it was cute to hear their reactions to stuff. Even the trailers. I want to go see Dogman. Can we go see Dogman?
That was me as a kid.
So cute.
That was me as a kid.
And hearing like what they laughed at. Like at one point, Robotnik said something about like a butt or like a smelly butt. And haha. But this kid was like, ha ha ha. Like he was loving it in the row in front of us. And I was like, damn. A kid would find that funny.
Right.
So it was just kind of, because when we sit and watch movies home alone, like we know what we're laughing at.
Right.
But it was cool to hear what the kids like understood, were laughing at, who that they recognized on the screen.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun.
You okay?
Yeah, sorry, I got to reposition. my booty cheeks are,
but
I've been sitting all day.
Yeah. Another thing I really liked about this movie is just really, I kind of said it before, this movie is really like a love letter to the games. It really is a love letter specifically to Sonic Adventure 2. And like there's a ton of Easter eggs and there's a ton of just outright homages, right? So like, Sonic running his loop-de-loops around like the Ferris wheel and running up a building like he would off a ramp, right? Like all that's really, really cool imagery. This is as spoilery as I'll get. Again, the movie's been out for going on 3 weeks now, so I think it's okay if we talk a little bit of spoilers. What I was excited about, because I heard it in the trailer, sort of. They put it in the score, some of the motifs from the main theme of Sonic Adventure 2, Live and Learn, the song I was singing at the beginning of this podcast. And yeah, when it came time, when they both fucking turned Super Saiyan, right? Mm-hmm. The song, you heard the guitar riff happen. And it was really cool because they played it. I don't know if you noticed at the very beginning when we first started learning about Shadow, we see Maria playing the guitar. I freaked out because she was playing the riff. And I'm like, this girl's shredding on a fucking acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
But that's why I was like, oh my God, because they went right for it at the beginning.
Okay, I thought you recognized whoever this new character was.
I already knew who she was, and I already knew what was going to happen. Oh yeah, that wasn't spoiled for me. I knew that was coming.
I see. I didn't know how much was like stuff they made for the movie and how much was actually like his backstory.
Yeah.
Was she Robotnik's granddaughter?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh. Do we ever figure out? I don't want to talk too much spoilers, but I just need to see like a family tree. So yeah. Maria is the younger Dr. Robotnik's sister.
That's what I was thinking about during the movie. I don't know that.
They're both his grandkids.
Yeah, but they could be from different.
They could be half siblings.
They could be from different sides of the family.
She looked normal.
Yeah.
And he looked fucked. Well, you know what? Rewatching Sonic, the first Sonic,
he wasn't always that bad.
He did not look fucked, but in the beginning, Sonic drove that man to insanity.
Yeah. Yeah, he sure did.
Yeah. And the Mushroom Land.
And the Mushroom Planet, yeah, that didn't help. But anyway, that was cool seeing them, in their golden god state, fighting all the robots in space and, crossing. It was just like, it was such, if you're a fan of the game, I was geeking out. I was just smiling the whole time. But anyway, just to kind of bring it all together, I forgot how fucking cool Shadow the Hedgehog is.
Shadow the Hedgehog had done like very little by the time John turned to me and said, he's so fucking cool.
I'm like, I don't care what kids hear me. He's so fucking cool.
And I said, I know. He is fucking cool.
Because he 5 minutes into the movie.
Where did he get the motorcycle?
I don't know, but 5 minutes in the movie, he kicks an entire squadron's ass, skates over water, right? blows something up. Don't know how he did that. And then he has this fucking cool motorcycle chase. He's strapped up.
He's got a gun.
And I'm like, man, like I'm wearing this shirt. Like, I know he's cool. I've always known he was cool.
You've never seen him be cool at live action
so
like that.
That was something really special. And also, like, man, you could say this about anyone. This series so far has pretty perfectly cast all of their characters.
I was gonna
up until they continue to do it, right?
Yeah, I was gonna ask. So you hear like Sonic and the gang talking in the video games. Mm-hmm. Does Shadow sound the same?
He sounds similar. He has a Keanu-esque quality, at least it's what we know from that
smooth,
dark brooding.
Gotcha.
Which makes Keanu Reeves perfect for this role.
What does Knuckles sound like?
Knuckles does vary from interpretation.
So I do love Idris Elba's Knuckles. He's so funny.
They did make him more Thor-like in these movies.
He is very Thor-esque.
Like, and he has a line in this movie. He says, "I've dishonored my marshmallow."
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
When he was making his s'mores.
Yeah.
They have made him a little more Thor.
Okay. I get it.
Which is funny because he was in Thor. I didn't think about that.
He was famously in Thor.
Yeah, he's not always like that.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I didn't think he was like English. He's not English in the games.
No, I don't even know that he's necessarily meant to be that. I just think that's Idris Elba's fucking voice.
It's just like that's what Idris Elba.
They said, "Hey, you're a Viking space echidna. Just start saying stuff. Your name's Knuckles. Just go ahead, go."
Bruv, and he's South London. I think Idris Elba has done an American accent before.
Famously, everyone thought he was American for the longest time. He used to do his.
What was he in?
I think he was in The Wire.
Oh.
I think.
So it's like he could. He's just not gonna.
Everyone, the secret's out.
He's like, you guys already fucking know.
Boasty.
Mena fumble, mena bossy. That's a good song.
But anyway, all that to say, just to kind of. I did put out a review on Letterboxd. You can go check that out. But yeah, I don't want to get too spoiler heavy, but I did really, really enjoy this movie for what it was. I know I said it again. I can't help it.
It's okay.
I can't help it.
It's a catchphrase.
It's a catchphrase.
Like a chili dog a day keeps Dr. Robotnik away. It's a catchphrase.
Gotta go fast.
Gotta go.
And guess what? Everyone loves it.
Gotta go really, really fast.
Gotta go really, really fast.
But I agree with you. I really, really enjoyed it for what it is. Don't go into it being like, I was here to see an Oscar-worthy plot. That's not what we're doing here.
You know what, though? After watching these 3 movies back to back, I will say the animation and the CG...
It's crazy.
It's insane. Like, even the first one's really good. Like, the CG and, like, putting him in live action. Mm-hmm. But there are moments in the first one where, like, man, he's real bright. Like, he almost looks like a cartoon.
Yeah. This one, I noticed it, too, while we were watching it. I'm like, this is the most in the environment they look to be. And
there was one shot. It was when they were... There's a scene where Sonic and Shadow are sitting next to each other and they're looking at a sunrise. The shot of the two of them when they're looking at the sun was like beautiful. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, like this is like, they're just the way they looked in their environment. It kind of blew my mind a little bit.
Yeah.
And there's a couple shots that I'm like, oh man, they like, you could tell they're getting money. They're getting time.
Yeah. Even the Robotnik shots when you have 2 Jim Carreys on the screen. There were some moments where I'm like, okay, I can tell which one is being face replaced.
Right.
But there were other times when I could not tell.
Right.
So yeah, I agree with you. It's they look fantastic.
Yeah. So kudos to everyone who worked on these movies. And you know, as long as they keep making these movies and as long as they're as entertaining as they are,
I'll keep fucking watching them.
Because they've already got a 4th one in the works.
Yes, there is an after credit scene in the 3rd movie if you are still intending to go see it.
Yeah, it's like a mid-credit scene. So, yeah. Just because I don't want you to have to sit through the whole...
It's...
Yeah, you know?
The animated credits, then the scene, then the, like, rolling credits.
But, I mean, this franchise has so much room for, like... spin-offs and sequels, so I'm like, you know what, if they're always going to be this good,
keep them coming. Yeah, I'm really interested to see what they do with the next one.
Yeah, I mean, we got some more characters popping up, which I'm excited for. I think this is a good method for them to get people excited about.
It's like every movie we're getting a new character.
Yeah. But anyway, moving right along. So I have
a question.
Yeah. What if?
I have another question. Why not? That was the theme of What If Season 3.
So we just got done watching Season 3, the final season of What If. Now, if you've been listening to us for any amount of time, I've said time and time again, What If Season 1 was fine. It was not my favorite. Mm-hmm. And one could say, this is a rare for Johnny P, one could say I was kind of underwhelmed by it. Maybe even a little disappointed. Only because, like... It was cool, but I feel like a lot of Season 1, and I haven't rewatched Season 1 very much. There were episodes I did like, but I feel like a lot of the allure of Season 1 was like, oh, the actors are coming back to voice themselves, like their characters.
And it was also like, this actor's playing, or like this character is not cosplaying, but you know what I mean, as this character.
Right.
Like Peggy Carter's going to be Steve Rogers. Well, Peggy Carter's going to be Captain Carter.
Right.
T'Challa's going to be Star-Lord.
Right.
Like it was like a one-for-one swap. And
yeah.
Like, what would that look like?
Which is fun.
It was fun.
But it was a lot of that. So it was like, you know, meh. I do think the end of Season 1 was pretty good.
Yeah.
And it sets us up nicely for Season 3, actually. But all that to say, Season 2 took me by surprise. Because I was very surprised at how much I really, really enjoyed it. And Season 3... Same thing. Like I thought it was kind of fun to have a few episodes that were like kind of that what we expect from What If, where it's just these fun little scenarios, these fun little universes, right? But I do think they set up this story that kind of over 3 seasons had kind of formulated in the background and brought it to the forefront in a really interesting way. So it's one of those shows that, man, I really didn't start out liking it. By the time we got to the very end, I was a little sad that it was ending. I was like, man, yeah. I think I really like the show.
Yeah, I agree. I was more on board with it in the beginning than you were. Part of that was that I didn't really have anything to compare it to. It was, especially at the time, like completely out of the norm for Marvel. The style, what they were doing, like, yeah, it was all very a lane change from what I was used to.
Right.
But I was pretty on board with it. But as the seasons went on, I think they got better and better.
Yeah.
So if I had to rank them, I would probably say like season 1, season 2, season 3. I think they found their footing a little bit. And also, like you were saying, I think a lot of people think if they haven't seen What If, it's like one-offs. Every episode is a one-off, this cool thing we're doing, never going back there again. Not the case.
Right.
There is, like you said, there's an overarching story for all 3 seasons, but in each season individually too. So yeah, if you haven't given it a chance, or you gave up after season 1 because, like we both said, it wasn't the strongest season, I would urge you to jump back into it and just see what they were able to do in seasons 2 and 3. I'm also sad that it is ending because it was so cool, and I feel like we got so many like interesting characters. We even got some original characters through What If. At the same time, I would hate for them to drag something out to the point where it is bad again.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, the fact that they were able to increase the quality over time, I'd rather you end it on a high than drag it out Supernatural style for like 15, 16 seasons and then it gets bad again.
Which you could, and you know what? They still make these as comics. So like if you really, really love just the one-off kind of thing, those exist.
Yeah.
And there's apps where you can download them and, appropriately. You can go to support your local comic store. Anyway, would you be surprised if I told you that people are upset? I say people, trolls, are upset that Captain Carter continued to be such a big part of the series.
Am I surprised? Was that the question?
Yeah.
No.
So a lot of people, and they're trying to flip it. And keep in mind, if you feel like I'm talking about you, I am. Okay. But I want to try and change your perception on it just a little bit. Okay. So people are upset because their new thing saying like, oh, this is just the Captain Carter show. Okay. We never got a season 3 of Agent Carter. So, hey.
And we barely got the seasons that we got.
Yeah.
They did not put any time or effort into those.
Exactly. So, you know what? Let's maybe give her flowers. Okay. But I have a theory on... Oh, well, hang on. Before I get to that. A lot of people were upset, and their new thing that they're saying is supposed to be an anthology series. That's where I was going with this thought. Mm-hmm. Is they're like, if you look at the description for season 1, it literally says anthology series and blah, 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 blah. And I was thinking about it, and I said, oh my God, I think I know what they were doing. Now, again, this is just my interpretation of it. This is my theory on why I think the show did exactly what it was trying to do. And it took us as viewers on the same exact journey that the Watcher goes on, making us.
We're the Watchers.
We're the Watchers.
We were watching.
Exactly. Truth be told. So just... Are you ready? Are you ready to suit up and go with me here?
I'm buckled in.
Buckled in. All right, cool. So the Watcher, who is nameless at the beginning of the series, right? Okay. The Watcher is meant to watch, simply observe the universes, and the Watcher literally takes us, the other Watchers, through this journey, as it was, because it's time. It's meant to be an anthology series. Just look at all these different universes and all these different stories. We're just watching them, right? Eventually, there are specific heroes and specific actions that the Watcher begins to care about, right? They're trying to protect their worlds and protect their universes and whatnot. And, by the end, he even learns from a few of them, right? Now, we, as viewers, are meant to, if they're doing their job right, again, art is subjective, you're allowed to dislike things, right? But hopefully, I think the idea is that you are meant to follow these characters and begin to feel for them, begin to appreciate them, begin to maybe even like them. And how the overarching story of the Watcher, Uatu, as we learn, drastically changes. It changes from just watching, right? Our experience as viewers also changed from watching what was meant, quote unquote, meant to be this anthology series of just what ifs to something completely different, ending with something completely different than what we started with, kind of growing with these characters and with this show, whereas you're expected to be one thing, but by the end of it, you're changed into something else.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. I'm like, we literally, as viewers, went through the same journey as the main character of the show.
Yeah.
And when I thought of it like that, it made me appreciate the show. Again, that's not to say that that's exactly what the writers are going for.
Right.
Those are just some parallels Johnny P made for himself, right? But I do think that there's a little bit of merit to it. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that that's maybe something they were going for. Mm-hmm. And even if they weren't, if that's what I took away from it, I'm really happy about it. But yeah, I do think that, and I don't know if it was what they were planning to do the whole time, but part of me thinks that maybe they were. I don't know. But I like to think of it as a really unique experience that maybe people won't appreciate right now, but hopefully down the line they'll also pick up on it, you know?
Yeah, I really, really cut the cameras. I love that theory. It's very interesting. It's definitely not, I didn't pick up on that at all, but it makes a lot of sense to me when you put it like that. Like, because there are even times where they're kind of, I mean, the Watcher is most of the time breaking the fourth wall,
right? Talking
to us directly.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think it has some merit.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I was like, as I was typing this out, I was like, man, do I sound fucking crazy? Am I just making like, I was like, but
I think you have some points.
I was like, this makes so much sense to me.
I mean, if people are going to like convolute their way into trying to think up ways to say that they don't like a character, but it's not their fault because like they did it wrong.
Right.
I think you can do the same.
Yeah.
In the reverse.
Yeah. And it just, I don't know, it helps me make sense of what was the reason for it all, right? Yeah. And sometimes it's a Marvel show. It's to entertain, right? Yeah. But no, I think it was a really interesting story they were telling over the course of 3 seasons. Because again, this story that ended up at the forefront was really happening in the background the entire time. I think we're supposed to feel, and people have a hard time because she's a woman, but I think Captain Carter is like another Captain America, right? The stealing from Sonic here a little bit, doing the right thing's not always easy, right? So, the journey she goes on, it's not particularly an easy one for her, right? Going through multiverses and but always feeling alone. Yeah. Being everywhere with everyone, but always feeling alone. So, one thing I want to say before we're done talking about it, though, they introduced us. One, whoever cast Natasha Lyonne as Birdie the Duck. Crazy. Whoever wrote the episode of the Ducks, I need to shake your hand and slap your face because the fuck was that?
The other thing to remember about What If is like it's not supposed to be, I don't think it was intentioned to lay the groundwork of things that we will see live action in the future. We did end up seeing a Captain Carter.
And I think we'll see her again.
And I think if they ever want Haley Atwell to do anything Peggy Carter related, I think she will. Yeah. Which I appreciate. It's like Tom Hiddleston level appreciation of the character, which I love. I love Peggy Carter.
I love Haley Atwell.
Maybe I'm biased because my last name's also Carter. If Captain Carter becomes like a live action, like actual long-standing thing, I'm set.
Right.
I'm never changing my name. Sorry. But if we got a live action Birdie the Duck, part of me, like, as we're watching it, I'm like, are they trying to get me used to Birdie the Duck so they can bring her into live action? How the fuck would they do that?
I don't know.
But she was great.
She was fantastic. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I don't want to spoil it.
Right.
I will say a big part of the finale, which is a 2-part, right? It's part 1, part 2, the last 2 episodes. There is a group of women leading the charge. And it took me so long to realize that group was women, like only women. Because it was like, it wasn't that fucking girl power moment of...
And the Avengers Endgame.
Yeah, whatever the fuck that was.
She's not alone.
She's not alone. We're synced up. Our periods are all synced.
Oh my God.
It wasn't that, which I appreciate so much. And it was just like so cool. And I know that there are going to be people who are like, what the fuck is this? Shut the fuck up. Yeah. But for me, that was a really, really cool, impactful, important moment. And yeah, there was so much that I'm like, man, like if they did decide to do anything with this live action, I'm so in.
Oh yeah. You know who they can't do live action? Fucking, again, this is in the trailers, fucking Goddess of Thunder, Storm Thor. I said to you when we were watching, she was letting Captain Carter lead the charge.
Absolutely.
Because if that were the case, she would be a fucking problem.
I feel like it's almost like if the
Storm's already
exactly like I think the baddies at the end, if they weren't interdimensional, outside of dimension beings, there would have been no plot.
Right.
Because Storm would have fucking wiped them out. It's crazy that they did that.
And I'm like, I need that Funko Pop. I need that on a T-shirt.
She
like,
was so cool.
Storm is already one of my favorite, like, X-Men. Storm Thorm? Forget about it. Yeah, so anyway, I enjoyed season 3. I'm a little sad it's over, but hey, if that means we can continue putting this time and effort into the new Spider-Man show,
Which
X-Men
looks great.
97 season 2. I know that they were doing the Marvel Zombies spinoff of What If, so I don't think it's not the end of Marvel animation,
Obviously.
but you know, but because it was our first real foray, like Marvel Studios, Marvel Animation's first foray,
Multi-seasonal.
yeah. So it's a little sad, especially because now it was like I think it was kind of just finding its real stride. But I guess quit while you're ahead, right?
I also think it would be really interesting, Disney, if you want to do this, let me know. Like every year, Christmas time, Doctor Who does a Christmas special, and it's usually like
Do a
around
What
an
If
hour.
special.
I could see them coming back doing just like one-off hour-long specials, not necessarily for Christmas, but just like
Right.
if there's an idea that they want to explore.
Ooh,
I think that could be really, really cool.
I'd love that.
To have more without tying it to a season or anything
Yeah.
like that. And I feel like you'd get more talent because the availability would be,
Right.
they'd have to schedule a lot less time.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
All right. So lastly, we'll just spend a couple minutes talking about this because I think it's pretty interesting. WWE. We all know it. We all love it. Well, at least most of us. Well, at least some of us. At least here, all of us. WWE. As we're looking forward to what may arguably be one of the biggest shows they do this year. Unfortunately, on January 6th. Raw is Netflix, right? Raw over on Netflix. It's shaping up to be a huge show. All the big stars are, at least most of them, are seeming to have big fights, right? We got big fight energy coming into Monday Night Raw. I don't even know what I'm like. I'm really bummed I'm working that night.
Oh my God.
I'll be coming in about midway through, but it's okay. It's on Netflix. We can replay it. A little easier. Anyway, but we got Seth Rollins and CM Punk, which after that promo battle they had, I'm like, man, drag this all year. That was amazing. I'm excited for their match. I'm excited for Drew and Jey Uso. Of course, listen, I'm expecting the final boss to show up, set things straight.
I mean,
Roman and Solo, tribal combat.
I think the only thing that makes me think that maybe he's not coming back, besides the fact that every time we are like, he's got to be back, he's never back. I feel like there might be more people returning, and I don't think he would want to be lost in that. Well, I don't think he would be lost. He would be The Rock. But I don't think that other people would be okay with him just like coming back. Stepping on their comeback.
I think he's going to be there because in all of the Netflix, it ends with The Rock saying finally, right? Oh, so I had always assumed he would be there, also because I'm going to catch so much shit for saying this. I don't think it's a surprise that he being on the board of TKO wasn't a big draw for Netflix.
Yeah.
Kind of them making the deal. If I remember correctly, when they were announcing that Raw was moving to Netflix, a big part of that would be that stars like The Rock and John Cena would make appearances specifically on Raw. It's their flagship show.
I get that. I feel like every once in a while, you know how like the political parties cross after
Raw becomes the good one. Yeah.
I feel like every few years, Raw becomes SmackDown and SmackDown becomes Raw.
Yeah.
SmackDown is Raw now.
Yeah. I mean, that's because for a while there, SmackDown was like the show to watch.
I know. All the big stars, and then they have to like level set and figure that out. And I feel like now the level is not set.
Yeah, but
we'll see.
But I do think it would also make sense, with the. I guess it depends on where they're going, which I don't. Everyone likes to fucking fantasy book. I don't care to do that. I don't fucking care. I'm gonna take whatever matches they give me at WrestleMania, and I'm gonna hopefully be happy with it, right? I think it makes sense if they're gonna do Rock and Roman at any fucking point in time. I think him at least having an opinion on this tribal combat makes sense. So I don't know. I think he'll be there, but
I'm not getting my hopes up.
Right. I'm excited. John Cena is definitely going to be there.
Yeah.
Excited about that. Hopefully he'll announce himself in the Rumble. I assume he'll be in the Rumble.
You said that he's coming back like full time.
That's the word, is that he's going to be there full time.
That's crazy.
For the year.
That's crazy.
Which we'll see what that means, because I know he's got some press to do for Peacemaker. So yeah, I'm like, listen, I know we're all excited, and we all love to, make comparisons between all the people who go off to Hollywood and how much they actually come back. I don't think he's going to be wrestling regularly on TV. I think he'll be at plenty of PLEs this year. I could be wrong. I'm happy to be wrong.
Yeah.
But
I was thinking the same thing. Maybe a lot of like
promos.
Face to face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not
maybe hit someone with an attitude adjustment. Yeah. Every other week. 5-minute matches, tag matches. Stuff that he's not as involved in.
Planning.
One. I mean, listen. They got to keep him safe, right?
That's the other thing.
But because he's a very valuable asset to Hollywood, which is why a lot of these Hollywood actors when they come back, they don't do all that much because they can't. Anyway, sorry. So yeah, plenty to be excited about. Now another piece of interesting news, and we were just talking about this a little bit off camera. So the rumor is that, again, we have no sources on the inside, but from what we're hearing is that Survivor Series has kind of become its own thing outside of the big four every year, specifically because of thanks to War Games, right? It's kind of its own like draw now. So now it seems like the big four might be kind of rearranged to where it's including WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, and now supposedly Money in the Bank, which is so funny because for a long time there was talks of them getting rid of the Money in the Bank PLE and just folding the match into WrestleMania or into something else, right?
I remember that.
So the rumor mill is spinning, and it's saying that Streets is saying that we might be moving into a 2-night format for all of those big four.
Which makes sense because we already have 2-night formats for 2 of the big four.
Yeah, because they just announced that they announced earlier, last year. That SummerSlam would be moving to 2 nights. Mm-hmm. So now the talk is that perhaps Money in the Bank and Royal Rumble in the future would also be moving to 2 nights. Now,
how do you do a 2-night Royal Rumble?
Well, they have 2 Rumbles a night.
Yeah.
So if the Rumbles are going to be an hour each,
or longer,
I'm not totally against it for Royal Rumble. If it means we can have longer matches and longer Rumbles.
If it means we can have and more meaningful spots and more like
right.
Slow it down. Yeah, I agree. It's just like, that's 4 weeks of the year. I can't do anything for a whole weekend.
Right.
No other plans can be made.
Right.
But no, I do think it makes it feel more of an event.
Right.
When it's these 2-night things, as long as they keep it to the core 4. We don't need every PLE.
Yeah, I don't need a 2-night payback. I don't need a 2-night fast lane, which I don't think they would do that. But yeah, one, there's a fucking ton of money to be made by having those specific events each be 2 nights. Also,
it would be kind of nice for people, like, if they weren't able to get tickets for one night, they could get tickets for the next night.
Yeah.
Divvy up, like, if you only care about this one match.
Right.
And someone else cares about this other match on a different day, like, you guys can have the same seats on different nights, you know what I mean?
Right.
Which would be kind of nice. I do think it is mostly money related for them to make the most money possible.
Right. But so, that makes the most sense. As a fan, again, and this sort of applies to the Royal Rumble and Money in the Bank specifically. SummerSlam, do I think it needs to be 2 nights? No. But if it is, that's fine, whatever. Cool. More wrestling for me, right? And again, that's acknowledging that it's probably mostly a money grab. But at least, like you said, for Money in the Bank and Royal Rumble specifically, we can take our time with these big matches a little bit more. Even the matches proper, not the specialty, like Money in the Bank matches or the Rumbles themselves. But like you said, those, we could have more meaningful spots there. We could have, take our time with them just a little bit more. Because, around this time last year, we were getting ready to go to the Rumble in St. Pete, right? And had a hell of a time. But it was a long night, right?
Oh, God.
So sitting through 2 Rumbles, Listen, sitting through
was
one Rumble is
a
like,
lot.
it's a lot. It's also super overwhelming.
It's so overstimulating.
Yeah.
But also, like, it kind of makes sense now if they're, all of these PLEs, if they're aiming for them to be 2 nights, that's a lot of storyline. Because, again, we can't just have these, like, 15-minute filler matches. I mean, we could. But if we're moving into a format like that, it's not conducive to that. I think the draw will be these set pieces or conclusions of these big storylines, and you're going to need time throughout the weeks to set that stuff up so that it feels weighty by the time you get to the PLE. So maybe that's why they need an extra fucking hour for SmackDown.
Right.
Let me sleep, please.
Yeah, and now that we have more titles in the women's division,
true.
It gives us more of an opportunity to showcase those title matches and those contending matches at these PLEs rather than just being okay with, because, hey, it sounds so shitty. Hey, the women might have 2 matches guaranteed per PLE, although they'll probably just do the mid-card titles on TV like they do with some of the other mid-card. Well, LA Knight's been now that they're elevating these titles, I'm hoping that they'll consider them PLE worthy. But anyway, all I'd say, I don't hate the idea. I don't think I'd be fine if they kept them at one night. But in terms of, I mean, the downside is that you couldn't make plans for the weekend, right?
Yeah.
But what the fuck else are we doing on a weekend?
What the hell else are we doing most weekends,
Yeah.
John? Not watching movies, that's for sure.
Going to Disney sometimes. Sometimes. But anyway, yeah. So let us know what you think of the PLEs, some PLEs, the Big Four, the new Big Four, moving to 2 nights. All right. Well, hey, guys. That's it. Episode 1 of, well, it's not episode 1, but first episode of the year in the freaking can. En la basura.
You say that in your classroom.
I do all the time. The kids go around saying it. Anyway, thank y'all for tuning in. If you're not already, please follow us on all the socials. Click the link wherever you can.
Click a link. I don't know.
Click a link somewhere. Make sure you're following us on all the things that we can keep up with whatever we're doing. And speaking of WWE, we do a live stream every single month, well, whenever there's a PLE, and it is called Pre-Per-View, where we talk up and down the card, make predictions, answer questions, and generally just hang out with y'all. So please tune in for that. And I think that's about it.
I hope you all have a great 2025. Things are looking bleak out there.
2020 survive.
Just try to 2020 survive this year. And then maybe, who knows, maybe you'll 2020 thrive. You never know. But yes, hoping peace and blessings to you and yours.
This year and the next 3 years after.
3 years after that, because I think those are going to be the contentious ones.
They've got to go fast.
We have to go fast through this presidency.
All right, y'all. Take it easy. Peace.